Right. All right. So anyway, it's hard to believe, but we're already at our 11th session. And you can go into the site anytime, just a reminder, and download any of the previous sessions. Now, next week is a continuation, also by myself and Donna, of eResources workflows, which is very similar to what we're doing now, which is eResource structure. What are we doing now? eResource structure? Fundamentals. Okay. So we'll have to get a formal definition of the difference between a fundamental and a workflow, but that's what's on the schedule for next week. Then demerits in fulfillment, which is actually a popular topic for Australia, who we're doing now. Anyway, so let's begin. And Donna's going to begin with the first question. So Donna, you can take the seat here. And this is a hot topic on a new feature that just came out or is coming out in April.
Okay, so hello everyone. So one of the questions that we received was regarding a development that we intend to introduce as part of the April release, and part of you were actually contributed to this topic in terms of design and analysis. The question is, we have heard that in April release there will be changes regarding database and package terminology and functionality. Could you tell us a little more about this? So yes, that is true. The April release will include a change to the terminology of packages and databases, but not only to the terminology itself, but also to the functionality. So some background, as you know, today in Alma, we have different entities for a database and for a package. And there's a difference regarding the functionality in relation to databases and packages. For example, for a database entity, you can associate a descriptive record describing the database. You can indicate a URL to the native interface of the database. You can publish it, of course, to Primo, and you do not have any portfolios associated to database. That's today a database entity. A package in Alma is, a package usually has portfolios associated to it, electronic titles that are associated to it, but you cannot associate a descriptive record to the package. You cannot have a descriptive record describing the actual package itself, and you cannot have a URL to the native interface of the package. And so there are real differences between the two different entities. So based on feedback that we got from several customers, we realized that this distinguish between the two entities is too harsh, in the sense that sometimes packages are actually in real life are actually databases, and there is a need to have a descriptive record for packages, and there is a need to have a URL to the native interface for a package. So that's why we decided to change the terminology and change the functionality. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek to our April release that you will see next month. So let's start. Okay, so first of all, in terms of terminology, we will not have packages and databases anymore. We're going to use the terminology electronic collection. So electronic collection will be the entity representing databases, what used to be databases and what used to be packages. So if you remember probably in your environment, when you have create inventory, you have here two options, add local database and add local package. This is Now, entry, add local electronic collection, okay? Because there's no distinguish today between database and today as of April. There's no difference between a package and a database. So if I go to add local electronic collection, you can see that I can add a local collection, and one of the attributes for a local collection is what type of electronic collection it is. So it can be a selective package, it can be an aggregator package, and it can be a database. And what we did is we deprecated the what used to be the different types of databases, because we believe that they are not widely used. They can be used today, but they're going to be deprecated, so that's why we added this note, to be deprecated. So when you want to create an entity of type database, you will choose database, and the service that will be associated to database by default it will not have any service, but still you can, if you want, associate services to a database. And if you select a selective package or an aggregator package, it will default to full text, and you can go on and create your local collection. I'm going to create a local collection, and I'm going to make it a selective package, okay? Yeah, so this is the local collections that I created. And you can see here in the tab additional information, although it's a selective package, although I defined it as a selective package, I can add a URL to the native interface of the package if I want to. I can indicate if I want to use proxy for that specific URL that I'm going to indicate here. Sorry for the URL. But I can indicate if I want a proxy to be associated with this specific URL, and I can add a descriptive record to this local collection. Okay, so I'm just going to select a bibliographical record. Excuse me that my example is not creative. Yeah, not creative and not describing a real collection, but just to show you the functionality. So I now have a descriptive record that is associated with this electronic collection. Okay. So now I can save it, and I have a local collection, and it has a descriptive record, and it has a URL to the upper level. I can search for this collection. Oh, let's see if I can find it.
Yeah.
You see, I have a history, which is my descriptive record, and you can see now that I also have availability electronic collection. Okay, this is the electronic collection that I've just created. Can go to it again, and you can see this is the.
That's the one I did yesterday.
Oh, okay, so this is not the one.
It shows the same point.
Yeah. Let me see if it's not this one. No, it's not this one, but the idea is that you can, the descriptive record, you can see the electronic collections that are associated to. You can also go to the URL through the link resolver. You are able to go to the electronic collection. Now, one important thing is that this descriptive record will be published to Primo, so your end user can find. Can be aware of these collections that you have and be able to link to the upper level using the link resolver. There's also additional changes in relation to the acquisition of this electronic collection. So if you go, to the community zone, for example, and choose to order something, you can see that these type of services are deprecated, and instead these type of services that are specific, electronic book package and so forth, are all deprecated, and instead you will be using the electronic collection. I see something is, since this is our development environment, this is something that I see that is still missing, but here you will be able to choose electronic collection, and all the package-specific purchase order types will be deprecated. But the idea is, in general, is that a package and a database are the same thing in terms of functionality. You can do the same thing that you can do with a package, you can do with a database, and vice versa. And therefore, we're not calling them packages and database, we're calling them electronic collections. So this is something that will be available as of April, electronic collection instead of database and package. Of course, we will add all this information to the release notes once it is released, and there will be available trainings regarding this functionality.
Are there any questions or comments?
Hi, Yoel. It's Melissa from RMIT.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. I have a question, but it's not necessarily related to what we just talked about, but it's related to something that I saw on the Boston College screen.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I've noticed just this morning in our environment, I saw that even though I had 4 portfolios associated with bibliographic record, I could only see 3 when I was in the repository view. Versus on the Boston College, it seemed like there were 5 or 6, if there was 5 or 6 pieces of electronic inventory associated with a record, they were all viewable. So is this something that is specific to Boston College, or is there something about our environment that's a bit different?
Well, first of all, this is a development environment in front of us here, a QA as we see here. Oh, sorry about that.
That's fine then.
That's one thing.
Okay,
just put it to QA.
Yeah.
Now, what was the specific question you were referring to?
No, that was it.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is not a live one. This is a QA environment that is our April release that we use for testing and developing the future month release.
Good. So everything's fine in our environment then. Thanks.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's no other questions or comments on that, we'll move on. Okay, so slide 3. Okay, so we're continuing from last week. 2 people asked questions about the complete and the incremental when loading local portfolios using the portfolio loader. Oh, let me share my desktop here, sorry. Share application and publishing profiles, share, okay, desktop. Okay, so could you explain more in depth what the differences between types complete and incremental when loading portfolios? Okay, that's the first question. Now there's also another question also which we're going to answer together. How can I automatically delete the bib records that are related to a portfolio after I delete them using either complete or incremental in the portfolio loader? In other words, the person is deleting the portfolios but also wants to delete what we call a childless bib. If we're in the regular user interface manually deleting inventory, we're usually asked, what would you like to do with a childless bib? Would you like to delete it or suppress it? And then okay, so these are the 2 questions we're going to answer now. Difference between complete and incremental with the delete, and how can I delete the bib when I'm uploading? Okay, so first of all, let's just open something up here, excuse me, and One moment, I'm going to open up a separate presentation. Okay, so everybody should see the desktop again. What's going on here, desktop? Okay, so here, this is a presentation, a separate presentation about using the portfolio loader, and it explains some things we're going to be talking about right now. So we're going to look here just at 3 different slides. So first of all, the difference between complete and incremental. Where is the complete and incremental, first of all, before we start talking about what the difference is between them? If we go into any collection, let's do a search on collections, electronic collections, and let's see if we've got something here, Australia, in our collections. Great, okay. So let's take this one here. It's only got 202. That'll be easy. Gale Cengage Home Improvement Collection. If we go here to Edit Service, and we go to the portfolios, and we go to Load Portfolios, here we want to load portfolios into this collection. Then we have 2 different options, complete and incremental. So what is the difference between the complete and incremental? And then the question specifically relates to when using delete. Okay. Now we know where we are. So when we do complete, it loads a complete set of portfolios. It overwrites everything in there. In other words, if we're choosing complete here, I know it's a little confusing, but that's why we're going to run it. When we choose complete, it's like us saying, disregard what you've already gotten there. I have the real complete set of portfolios. On the other hand, when we choose the incremental, we have, it loads a file only with the incremental changes. In other words, what's in the system is good, but now I have changes. Don't replace everything there, but according to what I choose, add, delete, update, do that with my portfolios. In other words, another way to say that is if I choose complete, and we're going to do this, so we're going to actually see this happen. If I choose complete here, then if the portfolio is in my Excel sheet, it's not going to get deleted. Let's see what we're talking about here. An example will make it clearer. So, it's also all in here. Delete. This is when we're doing complete. If a portfolio is part of the collection and not in the Excel, then it will be deleted. Because we're saying, I want everything that's in my Excel sheet. Let's do the example. So, in order, first of all, as we know, to get the, or let's say one way of getting the format of the Excel sheet that we upload here is to first export one. And let's do that, and we can export by Tools, Extended Report. Okay, so this is now going to give us an Excel sheet. This has 202. It shouldn't be too long to create. And this is going to give us the format of the Excel sheet. It's a Ex Libris proprietary format, a format that we made, but the vendors now are very familiar with it and know what it needs to be. Where's my Excel sheet down here? Here we go. Okay, so I have now my Excel sheet. Let me close these other Excels so we don't get confused. Okay. Let's say, for example, these two first ones, Floor Covering Installer and Access International. I'm going to leave only those in here for our example, and we'll get rid of all the others. Boom. Okay. So now the only ones I have are the first two. And we'll save this, save as. We'll call this Gales Engage, blah, 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 blah. We'll save it as an XLSX. And we'll say Floor and Access International, we'll call this. Just for our own testing purposes. Floor and Access. All right. Save. So now I'm uploading a file using complete with delete, and it only has 2 of the 200 and something portfolios. Let's close this. Where did I save it? Sorry about that. Oh, I saved it in a bad place. Let's save it somewhere where I'll find it. Right there. Okay. Now, so we got Floor Covering Installer. That sounds like an interesting portfolio. And Access International. Okay, so if I search here for Floor Covering, one of these portfolios is going to be Floor Covering. Wonderful. And you can also see, let me get rid of this, that I have altogether 202 portfolios. Now here we go. We're going to choose Load Portfolios. We're going to choose Delete with Complete. And let's just write down here what we're doing. I have 202 portfolios. Input file has only 2 of them. I choose Complete and Delete. Never mind my spelling. Here we go. Let me choose that file. So that was right here, Gales Engage, Floor and Access. Next. Okay, so he's already telling me, this is interesting. Number of portfolios to be deleted, 200, because there were 202 there, and I'm only going to be remaining with the 2 that are in my file. Perfect. Next. Did I hit next? Yes, activation job ran, an email will be sent. Okay. Let's go take a look now at what happened. I'm going to re-go in so that I get all the refreshness on it. Okay, additional information, and here, right? Okay, now perfect. I only have 2. So, like we said here, if I choose delete, if a portfolio is part of the electronic collection and not in the Excel file, in other words, all of those 200, then they're going to be deleted. What is in the Excel input file and in the collection will not be deleted, and that was those 2.
Yeah.
So what happens?
That's right.
Okay, so what happens here is I choose complete and delete. And only the 2 from the input remain.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments so far? I hear some talking. I don't know if it's for us or internal talking. Any questions or comments until now? We're going to try the incremental.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Muted.
We don't have.
I don't want to have to mute everybody. I don't want to sound like a third-grade teacher, but there's a lot of talking there. So if it continues, I'll mute you. Excuse me for sounding again like a third-grade teacher. If it continues, I'll mute you. Otherwise, you can either mute yourself or talk quietly. Okay. So next will be the incremental to see what's happening there. So let's take a different one instead of the Gales Engage Home Improvement Collection with the Floor Covering Installer, even though that sure is an interesting topic. We'll choose Australia one more time. And I want to choose one without thousands of portfolios because it will take a little longer. Okay, Gales Engage Pop Culture E-Culture Collection. They've only got 183. So let's take that. So now we're going to export our file as if now we're getting this file from our vendor. And in order to ensure that we're getting the correct format. We're just exporting one from in there. Okay, that's spinning around. Maybe I'll take the Elsevier Mosby's Nursing Consult journals. Maybe that one will be a little quicker. Let's try that one. Okay, now we've got the Gales Engage. All right, so portfolios. What's going on with my speed all of a sudden? Let's try that one more time. Maybe it'll speed up with another search. That's suddenly pretty slow. What do you think? I'll log out and log in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's log out. Oh, nothing's happening. Maybe I'll reopen this browser. Sorry about that. That's a different browser. Okay, we'll reuse this one. Sorry. Let's relog in there. And play. Okay, she's logging in, and we're in. Great. So, Australia in my collections. Collections, right? Yeah. Okay, that was quick. Where's my nursing with only 43? And portfolio list. We want one with a small portfolio list. Okay, 183. That was when we tried. Here we go. Edit service, portfolios. Okay, now she's moving. And extended report. Okay, that was really quick. Okay, so now we've got, how many do we have? 43, something like that? 40. 40 portfolios. And again, we're going to save 2 of them to see what's going to happen. So we'll get rid of all the others. And delete. So now we've got 2 of them. Now this is going to relate also to the second question in here. We're trying to combine questions for clarity and time saving. How can I automatically delete the bib records that are related to the portfolio? So, we're going to save only these 2. This is Applied Nursing Research and Pain Management Nursing. File Save As. Put that in our documents, and we'll call this Pain and Applied. We've got some good file names this morning. Save. Okay, now we'll see what happens. So we're going to load portfolios, incremental delete. So last time we did complete and delete. Now we're doing incremental and delete. Next. That's no. He's right. It's no. Documents. There we are. Pain and Applied. Next. We don't have that little add button there. Okay, so now none are going to be activated, and 2 will be deleted. Before, if you remember, we had 200 will be deleted. We had everything which is not in the Excel sheet will be deleted. Now it's everything that is in the Excel sheet will be deleted. That, again, is what's explained here when we do incremental, slide 32. Deletes, now we're doing incremental, deletes all electronic collection portfolios that are in the file. So we only have 2 in the file. Interesting. Before it was next, now it's load. Okay. So that was running. And let's see what's going on there. We trust that it's already done. Additional information, portfolio list. Ah, great. So now there's 38, which we know is correct. We had 40. 2 were removed, and now I should not have the one about pain. Great. Oh, an ISBN, of course I don't. Okay, now comes the other person's question. Typically, she asks, first of all, how can I delete the bib records that are related to the portfolio after I delete them using either complete or incremental? Okay. Typically, if someone were to manually delete a portfolio, for example, the Journal of Vascular Nursing, and choose here delete, they get an option, how do you want to handle the bib record which is associated with it? Do you want to delete it, do you want to do nothing, or do you want to suppress it? When we just did it from the Excel sheet, we were never asked, what do you want to do with the bib? So, theoretically, even though the pain is not here, what was it called, pain nursing management? It probably, what was it, it was pain nursing management, right? I still have it here, one of these. I still have it here, yeah, pain management nursing. I still have the bib, but it's childless. It didn't yet have any children, or it had children and they left home. So how can we get rid of that? So the answer right now is you can't. However, as you know, Alma is a constantly changing thing, and we have a plan for that, and I'm going to give us a little sneak preview to the, just to the description of it, not to the actual, not to the actual 131974. You're getting a sneak preview in here, how we handle our internal things here. So what we've got here is when deleting portfolios as part of the loader or incremental, we just did it now with complete with incremental, it deletes the portfolios but does not handle bibliographic records. It should do this, like when we did it manually, it should either do nothing, suppress, or delete. So we're going to be adding that in a future release, planned, we always say planned, not for sure, planned for May. So keep an eye out for that in 2 more months, actually 1.5 months, because we're already almost all the way into March. Okay, so that covers those questions. Before we go on to the next one, that's the differences between the complete and the incremental regarding delete, and how can we get rid of the bib. Any questions or comments there? I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. We would like to know what happens to the existing records with those. Oh, this is from the previous one, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, Donna? Wait, let me read the question for everybody. The question relates to the previous, Donna's previous explanation of the new electronic collection functionality and terminology, and they ask, we would like to know what happens to the existing records with those purchase types that are to be deprecated. Go ahead.
Okay, so in terms of the existing data, it's going to stay as is. All the purchase lines will remain with the old purchase types and with the old material types. We're not going to delete anything. They'll all be able, you will be able to report on them. You will be able to search by M. There's no loss of functionality in that sense, so everything will be available with the old values. But from now on, when you create an electronic collection, it is recommended not to use the deprecated values, either for the material types or for the purchase types.
Okay, does that answer the question? Okay. I just want to give a sneak preview. As long as someone's asking about the purchase types, am I sharing my desktop? No, I'm not. Let me share the desktop again. First, you've got to share application. Oh, share my desktop. Great. Okay, just as a little sneak preview, again, the constant developments of Alma. Under acquisitions now, a brand new feature. You're going to be able to determine which acquisitions methods you want to appear and what the order are. You can use this little yellow thing here to enable it or disable it. So if someone says, look, I never do technical, just get rid of it, or any other one. Or I always do purchase at vendor system, but I want the others. Can I put that one on top? Yes, you can, and that's coming out as we see in April. Okay, that was just a little aside. Okay, next. Back to the questions. Okay, one more question from me, and then we're going to go to Donna. When I run the new Export URLs feature from the February release, not all of the URLs are included. Which ones is it including and which ones is it omitting? I know some are missing because I spot checked them. Our IT department requires all the URLs so they can synchronize them with our proxy server. Okay, so one moment. Here we go. Let me get out of this April and back into March. Because we can travel in time here at Exlibris. We can't go back though. We can never go to a January or February release now, but we can always travel in the future. So anyway, if I go now to Resource Management Configuration, and I go to Export URLs, I'm going to run this on everything. I can run this either on only a certain set or everything. On purpose, I'm going to run it on everything. Save. Okay, so this now is running. Let's refresh that. Initializing. It finished already. So let's take a look at that file. And here it is, Export Electronic Human Resources URL, Actions, Report. Here's my URLs. Let's save this file for a minute. Download. Open.
That's what you did. You did the export URL.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right.
We're talking about the export vector.
Okay, so I have here 66 URLs. I'm going to save this file, save as, and let me stick that in Documents, and I'll call this URL export before. Now, I only have 64, and I know I have a lot more. Save. I'm just going to choose a yes. It's going to ask me that a million times. Okay, I'm just going to go in now and choose anything. Let's take chemicals. The Dirty Dozen. Edit. Linking. Nice. Let's see if I have this. Control F, Control V, find next. Oh, that one is there. I'm going to find one I don't have there. Hold on 1 minute. Most of them I don't have, so it should be simple. Let's see. The Petroleum Engineer's Guide. Here we go. Unbelievable. I've got all of these. Before I did example after example, and I had none of them. One more. Electronic Chemical News. Edit. Linking. Oh, no, this is the one I checked last time. 1 moment. And methods for determination. Engineer Village. Controller servlet, open URL. It goes up to the question mark, up to the query. Okay, great. So I do not have engineeringvillage.com. And I do have altogether 66. If I were to take this and do a little anything on it, just making minor changes, add a note, save. I'm saving this now. We're going to see why I'm doing that in a minute. Let me stick that Engineering Village in here. Now we're going to again run this job. Resource configuration menu, export URLs, all, refresh, completed, reports, doing the same exact activities, getting this actions download open, and that's my before. This one now, Control F, there's my engineering village. Now I have it. Okay. That's because we added the option to be able to export the URLs. Let's go URL export. However, it's a new index which is not yet indexed until April. So the reason the person found that he's missing them, extracting electronic portfolio URLs. Okay. The reason the person is not, we added the option, it all needs to be re-indexed now. So we put a little note in here. In order to use this export utility, the job requires re-indexing of your electronic inventory so that previously stored URLs in the system can be extracted. So that URL that we saw now, Electronic Village, when I saved it, it got re-indexed, and that's why we were able to find it. But everything you already have in the system now is not indexed, and therefore you're not finding them all. So after April, that's when we're going to re-index everything. We're gradually doing it. It may even already be done now. We're gradually going, and by April, everyone's will be re-indexed. That's why you didn't find it and why I found it after saving. Okay, is that clear to everybody, and or are there any questions or comments? You still want to add something? Okay. John, do you have a question? I see your hand up. Is that just left up from before, or you have a comment? Let me go to the chat here. Okay. No questions or comments. Okay, so we're going to turn the floor over to Donna again. Let's just do a quick check here. Everybody still hear me all right? We still got good communication going on? Can we get some hands up if you can see okay? Okay, Adelaide, Matthew. How about Patrina, Philippa, Swinburne, and Juan? Okay, other hands are going up. Good. Okay, so Donna, take it away. Slides 12 to 15 minutes.
Okay, so the next question is, I can't find a collection I have in the community zone. What should I do? Okay, so in this case, if the community zone is missing a collection, what you can do is you can create a local collection, and you can manage it locally in a way that it will represent your subscription. So adding an electronic collection, as we saw before, you can do it from here. You have this is an environment of a March release, so this is something that you have in your environment as opposed to what I showed you previously, which had the add local electronic collection. This one does have the difference between add local package and add local database. Okay, so don't be confused. What I showed you earlier is something that will be available in April. We are now looking on a March. This is what you have. This is the release that you have. And in this case, in March release, there is a difference between a local package and a local database. So if there is a missing package in the community zone, what you can do is you can add a local package. You can indicate what type of collection it is. If it's a full text, you can indicate who is the owner. It will create your collection. At this point, you can use the portfolio loader to add portfolios. You can add portfolios from a set. If you have a set of standalone portfolios that you want to group together into collection, you can do that using the add from set. You can use the load portfolio as you're demonstrated. You can add local portfolios manually. The idea being that this collection is local to your environment. No one else in the community can see it. No one is exposed to it. It's your own local collection. So after you do that, you have it available, and what we suggest is opening an SI with the, if you think that this collection is relevant, and if you believe that this collection is relevant not just to you but to the entire community, we recommend that you open the Salesforce case with us, and we will add it to the community zone as a collection. Any question regarding this? No. Okay, so let's continue with the next question. Okay, sometimes we encounter a situation where we activate a collection from the community zone, but it is missing some titles. For the titles which are missing in the community zone, we have created standalone local portfolios. What do we recommend we do in such case? Okay, so, sorry. So you have a collection. From the community zone. Let's say
chemicals.
Let's say you have a Gale collection. Now you have, let's say you have 346 portfolios available. But you notice that this is as you can see, it's a collection from the community zone. You can see this through the icons here. So there are 346 titles available through this collection. But let's say that for the sake of the question, that the community zone is missing some of the titles. Okay? So it's missing some of the titles. So what you can do in this case, there's no need to create standalone portfolios for these titles, because standalone portfolios are really meant to create a portfolio for those electronic books or electronic journals that are not available through a collection. But in this case, they really are part of a collection in the business sense. They're not part of the community zone at this point, but business-wise, they should be under the Gale biography and context collection. So in this case, what you need to do is you just go to the edit service, you go to the portfolio list, and you just add those titles that are available through this collection to this collection. Although it is a community zone collection, it can still have local portfolios. Okay, so I'm going to add my own title. I'm going to add my own local title. Add all the information. If it's a journal, I will add the coverage information. If it's an electronic book, I can add a specific URL. I can enable proxy. I can add all this information just like any other local portfolio, any portfolio. And you can see that it's now part of my collection. It's a community zone collection, but still it can have local portfolios. And you can see that these portfolios are coming from the community zone, and this one is my own proprietary portfolio for the title that is not part of the community zone. I can create it like this, like I show you using the add local portfolios. But if there's a lot of them, then it's more efficient to use it to add it through the load portfolios. You can create an Excel sheet with all the local portfolios, do an incremental update, and add new portfolios. They will be added to the electronic collections as electronic portfolios. And again, also in this case, we suggest to open a Salesforce case with us so we can add them to the community zone electronic collection. And if we do that, okay, so you can have these local portfolios as part of this community zone. Now let's say that you submitted the Salesforce case and we updated the community zone electronic collection with those missing titles. Then what you can always do is you can you would want to use once the portfolios are added to the community zone, what you would want to do is to be able to link them to the titles that were added, to the portfolios that were added to the community zone. So instead of maintaining them by your own, you would want to use the ones that are added to the community zone. And the April release will include a feature that will enable you to link an electronic collection content to the community zone content, to the community zone electronic collection. Okay, so in this case where we have a mixture of portfolios from the community zone and local titles, as of April you will have the ability to link the local portfolios to community zone portfolios, so you will always be up to date. Okay, so this is something that is coming in April. Any questions about this? No. Okay, so we will continue to the next question. Okay, we received firm orders for ebooks from our vendor in marked format. The ebooks are portfolios in a collection connected to the community zone. How do I update the content of the package? So what Yoel demonstrated is the ability to update an electronic collection using an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so you can always manage and maintain the electronic collection using this Excel sheet. But some of the vendors work with mark records, and you would want to update the electronic collections using these mark provided files. In order to do that, we have the capability to use the import profile. So I'm going to go into an eBury import profile. And this is a regular profile for adding repository information, so it will load mark records. In terms of the inventory, it is defined in a way that it will create electronic portfolios. Now, by default, when you use the capability of the import, by default it creates standalone portfolios for those mark records that are loaded. But we've recently added the ability to use the part of a package. Okay, so now when you are loading a mark-based record, it will try to match the bibliographical records in the file, and you can associate it with a specific package. Yeah, so what I can do this with my own local collection, or it can be a community zone collection. It doesn't matter. You can do any type of package. You can select a package here, and you can associate it to it. So now every time that you will load the mark record, it will try to look for the mark record. It will try to look for a portfolio in that collection, and will try to update it. And if it will not find it in the collection, it will add it as a new portfolio. Okay, so and there's various configuration options here. So for example, you need to say exactly where to extract the URL from for the portfolio linking information. You can add notes here. So this is how you can configure it. And again, when you run this, when you load this mark XML file, it will, the way that it will work, it will go record by record. Each record it will look for, it will try to match the mark record with the package that you specified. If it will find it, it will update the portfolio information according to the information that is imported. If it will not find a match, it will add it as a new record. If it is marked as a deleted, it will delete it. It will delete the portfolio from the collection. Okay, so it's tightly integrated with a package with the ability to update, to add, and to delete records. Okay, so I don't have here an example of a file that we can load, but this is the way to work with mark records and managing collections using batch processes of import. Any questions?
Hi, Janet. I'm from RMIT. I'd just like to clarify something. We're sitting in your eGray profile right now, and say we were putting in a file of records from our vendor, which were pretty good quality, and we wanted to make sure that we had good quality records. I understand that they're doing a lot of work in the community zone to improve the quality of the records, but in the meantime, if on our Match Profile tab in the import profile, we had it set to unlink from community zone, would we end up with our good vendor-provide bibliographic record associated with the community zone inventory, or would it still continue to use the community zone bib record?
Okay, so if you do unlink records from the community zone, if you click this, what will happen is that it will. So if you click on unlink records from the community zone, it will use the mark records that you upload, but still you will be connected to the inventory in the community zone. So you will benefit from good quality records that you import, but also benefit from linking information, coverage information that are managed in the community zone.
Great. Okay. Just thought I'd make sure of that before we went running off. And
really, that label should be unlinked bibliographic records from community zone.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Okay, that brings us to 8 a.m. local time, 17 p.m. I assume Eastern Australia time. So thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks and have a nice day.